The big squeeze. Equity-rich homeowners are finding themselves squeezed between inflation and a volatile stock market. Welcome to the Industry Leader Update. We should never forget that today's economy isn't just a hardship for retirees. For some, it's an outright nightmare. Older Americans are seeing their purchasing power evaporate as they ratchet up their retirement withdrawals in many cases just in the effort to stay afloat. And older renters who don't have any nest egg of home equity that's been accumulated, they're going to feel the worst effects of inflation. Case in point, the Pensacola, Florida station WEAR-TV reports one 64-year-old retiree, Ruby Gilbert, well, she's going back to work and she's looking for a job after the rent on her Lantana, Florida apartment was increased from $1,450 per month to nearly $2,000. Now, inflation also has another insidious side effect, and it's this: reduced retirement savings. Today, many pre-retirees have reduced or completely stopped their automatic retirement savings investments, finding that life is just getting too expensive today to save for tomorrow. And the impacts of this depressed savings is going to be felt in the next 5 to 10 years as they move into retirement. But all is not lost, however. In fact, one group of retirees may be unwittingly sitting on top of a potential solution to their inflation-driven cash flow woes, and that is homeowners. Now, some of the same policies that actually led to a surge in domestic inflation also inflated home values. And that inflation in home values is good news for seniors on a fixed income who are now feeling the brunt of inflation, with housing, food, energy, gasoline accounting for 75% of a typical senior's budget. The challenge is the growth in home values that may help older homeowners has also damaged the overall housing market. And that run-up in home values has today become so ridiculous, so absurd, that homeowners are now finally deciding to stand on the sidelines. And who can blame them? That's not surprising, considering that the recent surge in the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage rate, coupled with peak home prices, has simply made home ownership unaffordable for millions of Americans. And once again, the housing market would have been relatively undamaged if we had something more normal. But instead, we had a sudden rise in home mortgage rates and also home appreciation that was far past the typical growth of 3 to 4% a year. However, the Fed's policy stoked another irrational, white-hot housing market, and that's what we have today. So that leaves retirees facing one thing: uncertainty. For example, the S&P 500 index closed down 18% year to date, while Moody's Analytics data suggests that the average home value is overpriced or inflated by 24%, with values outpacing income growth. In such circumstances, older homeowners are in fact being squeezed on all sides, with a declining retirement portfolio, inflation, and hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity that's sitting idly that could begin to erode this year. We could see home values drop. Now, right now, it's too early to see if we're going to have a housing market crash or a correction, but mark my words, we're going to have one or the other. Housing prices simply cannot remain at these inflated values we're seeing today without the support of underlying economic fundamentals. Home sales have fallen for 4 months in a row across the nation, while the number of new home listings, they are surging across several key U.S. metros and real estate markets. And there's also a dirty little secret that's hiding in plain sight. The U.S. Census Bureau is reporting that 13.4 million Americans are either currently in default on their home payments for a mortgage or rent. and nearly 5 million of these households are going to be foreclosed on or evicted in the next 2 to 3 months. Now that's going to have some significant repercussions. Now, while these displacements are genuinely tragic, they will substantially increase housing inventory, and that's going to put pressure on home prices and rental rates in specific markets. Ironically, loan delinquency rates are actually down by 1.93% month to month, and they're 42% less than they were 1 year ago. That according to recent data from Black Knight. Now, if the U.S. enters into a recession, which I feel is a very likely outcome, you can expect to see foreclosure starts and foreclosure filing surge. Now, all things considered, older homeowners that have considerable equity, they stand to be best prepared to cope with the increasing cost of living. The question is, are they aware of their options? Now, what are your thoughts? Leave your comments in the comments section below. And if you'd be so kind as to share our video, that's how we get the word out. In fact, maybe you can share it with someone who is in the traditional or forward mortgage market and let them know that there are options with a reverse mortgage. And don't forget, we have our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and then hit the notification bell. That way you never miss an upcoming episode. We have a catalog of hundreds of past episodes that you can search and peruse. And each and every week, we bring you the latest reverse mortgage news and commentary. No cost or subscription required. That's Heckam World Weekly. If you're an Apple user, you can listen and also subscribe on iTunes. That's it for us this week. Thanks again for joining us for more reverse mortgage news, commentary, and analysis here at the Industry Leader Update. We'll see you next week. Happy originating.